I found myself in the hospital and they told me that I had probably 2 weeks to live. I thought of my family first. I thought of my business second because I care that much about my people. I wanted to make sure they were okay. My name's Khalil. I'm located in Columbia, Maryland. I was born in New Jersey, raised in Atlanta, went to public school, went to private school, went to college, and then I was working in the restaurant industry. Seasonal work at a honey baked ham store in Atlanta. And I was making $7.25 an hour. You fast forward, I had gotten promoted like 6 different times, and I got really close to corporate. I wasn't in corporate just yet, but I was overseeing like 20 different locations. And I was making maybe $80,000 a year, and I thought like I made it. After I was working in the restaurant industry for about 6 years, I transitioned to get into a different industry, this industry, where I was running a sales organization. I was working along individuals who were working with some really, really big clients, some well-known clients like the Costcos of the world, the ATTs of the world. My goal was just to see what my life could be like if I put myself alongside really successful people, knowledgeable people that had very humble beginnings. Some of them with no college degrees, no formal education. They didn't come from, wealthy backgrounds. Not that that's bad, but they understood what it was to not have a lot of money like myself. I didn't grow up with a lot of money. So for individuals that I could relate to in that sense, and then listen to and learn from, and they were willing to teach me without me having to pay them, I thought that was just the best thing in the world. I was very humbled. So that was incredible for me, and to have worked 6 years in an industry, a restaurant industry, and then all of a sudden, I decided to leave that position to learn a process from somebody that was already successful in the industry, and then to be able to move on and take all of those things and build my own company as a result of it. I haven't heard a story like that before. And so once I got involved with it, I just felt the need to continue to pass that along to other people. It's like when you're enjoying something, you take a sip of something really delicious, it's like you want to tell other people about it. So my passion's authentic. Running a business is really like a big reflection of what it's like managing you. If you're not a person of good character, then you're not gonna have a business of good character. And you're going to see parts of yourself that you love, that you admire, that you're proud of. And then there are moments where you're going to see your business reflect parts of yourself that you're not so proud of. When I started to continue to work on developing myself, I started really focusing on my health, my wellness, my well-being. I started thinking about what type of character that I wanted to have. Those things were reflected directly into my business. And all of a sudden, people were just as happy as I was. People were dressing better. People were thinking more intelligently. There was a lot of job satisfaction with the people that I was working with, but that's because there was a lot of satisfaction that I had within myself. Running a business takes every part of you. It can be really scary, but it's also really scary to look in the mirror and look at every part of yourself. It's very, very scary, especially if you haven't practiced doing that. And so to run a business for this long and to be successful is no different than to continue to develop the success within yourself, to be the person that you wanted to be. So I had a pretty big health scare, and this was 2 years ago in 2022, where I was diagnosed with heart failure. It was scary for all the obvious reasons, right? How often do you hear you have heart failure? It was a very traumatic experience. I think that part of the challenge for me was when I was growing up, we always put our health first. And so it was very surprising. One, I was a young man, still am a young man. It was also surprising because I was thinking, I don't do anything to my body harmful that should warrant a heart issue. Well, at the same time, my mother was going through a heart issue. And I had lost my mother shortly after I had gotten diagnosed. I found myself in the hospital, and they told me that I had probably 2 weeks to live. I thought of my family first. I thought of my business second, because I care that much about my people. I wanted to make sure they were okay. And so the doctor told me, Khalil, we don't understand what's going on. We have no idea what prompted this heart failure. Every test we've ever run, you look extraordinarily healthy. And I said, Doc, what am I supposed to do? And they said, well, the best we can do is we can run tests. We can try to speed up the process for you to get listed, which is basically where you're put on a list where you can receive, a donation for a heart. They said it's very difficult to get listed, number one, and it's even more difficult to actually get the organ that you need. It could be heart, it could be, kidneys. So I wasn't very hopeful, but I was very positive. I was very scared, but I didn't really have time to feel so much at that point. I was really just thinking about my children. I was thinking about my wife. After a week of testing, they expedited the process for approval, and I got approved within 1 week, which was extraordinary. And I was on a Zoom with all my family, and I said, I'm not gonna cry. The second I hit press on Zoom, I'm bawling tears. I'm like, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. We said prayers. We gave a lot of thanks. And then I went to sleep. When I woke up, the doctor walked in, very straight face. I have some news for you. And I was like, well, it can't get any worse than this. He said, we found you a heart. And I looked at him and I said, are you serious? He said, I'm serious. And I cried like a baby. The loud, ugly cry. I was in the pillow. And that night, less than 12 hours later, I had my surgery, had a new heart. They told me that it should take 6, maybe 8 months to get a new heart. I had it the very next day after getting listed. I was supposed to be in the hospital even after the heart surgery for maybe 2 to 3 weeks. I was there for 6 days. I was walking home. I went home, I hugged my little girl, and 3 months after that, I was fully recovered, faster than they had ever seen. Even 3 weeks after leaving the hospital, I was back in the office with my people because I care about them that much. I wanted them to know, hey, you want to talk about some negatives? I got some negatives for you. I thought it would be a good inspiration for them. When you're in the hospital and you're not sure you're going to live, you have moments of deep reflection. And what's important in your life starts to bubble up to the top if you weren't aware of it before. What I thought about was my family, which I think most people would assume they think about. I didn't think about money. I didn't think about my car. I didn't think about my clothes. I thought about what life my children might have, what impact I had on their lives, what impact I had on people's lives. And then I thought about the memories that I had that were just so incredible. And those were the things that brought me the joy. It was the memories and the experiences. Surprisingly, even the painful experiences brought me joy because I was able to reflect and see the lessons from them. And I realized that life is about experiences, and it's about memories, and it's about love, and it's about passion, and it's about being human, feeling all of those things and learning from those things. When I walked out of that hospital, I felt like I had lived and I was reborn again. And so the lens that I look through life is a lens of opportunity. It's a lens of love. It's a lens of helping other people. I feel like that's my purpose. That's my mission. There has to be a reason why I'm here. It couldn't be just for me. There's something I'm supposed to deliver to people. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but I can sit, I can listen, I can learn, and I can share with what I know. I know now that my life is not just for me. My life is a part of everybody else's life, and we're connected. And that resonates through my business. I think when people show up, whether it's a good fit for them or not, my goal is for them to have an incredible connection with me, an incredible connection with what it is that we do, and for them to understand why it's more than just the clients that I work with. This is an opportunity for me to be able to develop you to be a better thinker, a better mom, a better father, to be able to provide for your family. Me being an entrepreneur is precisely the reason why I was able to get through what I was able to get through. I talk a lot about love and passion and the doctors. There's also this little thing called insurance too. And if I didn't have the resources and the finances for my wife to have the car and for us to have the money to pay for a babysitter while she visited me in the hospital every single day, driving an hour both ways and running a business herself because she's a business owner. It's nothing short of a miracle. And so that, I think, has been one of the things that resonates the most with people, is that I just have a love and passion for life and my business. When I grew up, I was the only boy. We moved 21 times by the time I was 21. So I would make friends and then they would go away. When I was 3, 4, 5 years old, I had these Sesame Street books, the hardback Sesame Street books. And when I would open the book, I would see my friends. I would see people that I saw on television that I knew. I would say, hey Ernie, hey Bert, hey Grover. And that's what gave me company every day that I woke up and I didn't have actual friends around. What I didn't realize that I was learning was community. I realized that people can look different, different colors, different sizes, different shapes. I didn't realize that I was learning that people have different things that they like. There's no one way. You know, even Oscar the Grouch, for example, he lived in a trash can and he was grouchy, but no one mistreated him. There was a lot of love there. My mom used to come and read those books to me every single evening. So you fast forward now, I have 3 children, 3 daughters, one who's 3 years old, one who's 2 years old. And I found those books on eBay and they have every one of those books and I read them those books every single night. What's funny is that I'm sure I'm enjoying it more than they are. You know, it's just funny thinking about Sesame Street, right? Like, how does Sesame Street impact your business? My business is extremely diverse. I have people from Cameroon, I have people from the Philippines, I have people from Peru, obviously people from the United States, people from Sweden, people from Nigeria, all over the world that are in my business. And then I'll ask them about something that's taken place politically in their country, and they're like, how did you know that? So I make an effort to learn about the world the same way that when I was a little kid, Big Bird made an effort to get to know everybody in the neighborhood. Everybody made an effort to get to know everybody in the neighborhood. There were no egos. Everybody that came around, the goal was to understand who they were. It was to not be judgmental. It was to accept them. And when someone stepped out of line, when someone made a mistake, when someone hurt someone's feeling, it would be corrected, but it'd be corrected with love. That's who I am. Sometimes I'm tough, but I'm tough to strengthen. I'm not tough because I just have an ego and it's the sake of being hard on somebody. Sometimes you live in a garbage can and sometimes you're a grouch. And sometimes you're walking past somebody that may be a little bit grouchy, but you show them love every day because they're human beings and we all go through things. My experience with growing up watching Sesame Street and things like that has made me really accepting of the differences that people have. It's made me really accepting of the different cultures, the different personalities, and it's made me very patient with people because I don't try to convince people to be more like me. I try to first understand who they are. And I found that my job is to understand people. And when I fully understand somebody, that's when the real communication can happen. Because if I'm speaking a different language than you are, then what difference does it make what I'm saying if you don't know? Since being a business owner, I've had an opportunity to meet so many different people because in my business, I've had an opportunity to speak to hundreds, thousands of people that both work for me, who don't work for me, different countries, different parts of the country, even different clients that they may work with. I've had a chance to listen to their stories and a lot of them have impacted my life and given me such great advice that I use to this day with raising my children and my relationship with my wife, my relationship with myself. There's too many people to name that I'm thankful for. The short answer is I'm thankful for every single person that comes across my life. With this new life that I'm living, I realize that someone's either here to teach me a lesson or I'm there to teach them one. The best case scenario is we both teach and we both learn. So I'm thankful for everybody in my life, but certainly my wife, she has been the rock when the sea was rough. I credit her for saving my life. She was there every day. I am so thankful for my mother because as much as I tried to not be her, ironically, I turned into her. But that's a great thing because I didn't realize when I was a young man how extraordinary of a woman that she is. I'm thankful for my older sister, Khadijah. She beat me up a lot. I hated her growing up, but because I didn't have like a guy to, she was doing that to toughen me up. She still does it. I'm like, hey, I'm grown now, you can stop. But she's still big sister for me. So, my family, my sisters, my daughters, my wife, I'm most thankful for, my mother. And I'm also thankful to myself for being a student and being humble enough to be flawed and to continue to work through it. I'm very proud of myself for that. I'm also very thankful for, my mentors. They have been my brothers from day one, but there's so many people that I can say thank you to. And so my thanks is to be a reflection of, their influence, to try to be the best man I absolutely can be. And I don't want anybody to think that I'm a saint or I'm perfect because I'm not. But I do think that perfection is the pursuit of. It's not a destination for me. It's the advancement of perfection. It's me continuing to move forward. That's what I believe perfection is.